Here we are, raw and real, heart-to-heart conversations. I am Marjorie Chapman. That's midnight. And we are here talking to Dawn Arley. Oh my goodness. And it is the last day of September. And I was just telling Dawn that they are milling our street, which I had to look up. And it means that they are stripping the top layer of asphalt off to repave. So, and of course, they just arrived outside my house just a little bit ago. So I imagine there may be some additional noises here. And I will do my best to mute, provided I'm not talking. So, and we are raw and real. So, you know, it all fits.
It all fits. Request to include it all.
Exactly.
Real life.
Exactly. Because really, life works so much better when we don't try to micromanage every little bit. And conversations work better without very large and annoying distractions. So, you know, it's all a matter of finding the balance, right? Which is somehow the perfect analogy for life.
Totally perfect. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Exactly.
That's the big piece right there. Wisdom to know the difference. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, for powerful people like us, it just occurred to me as I said that, for powerful people like us, there seems to be that we can really change friggin' whatever we want. Like, we've got the power to make it however we want it. If it's not the way that we want it, well, make it the way you want it.
Yes.
Right? So then there's, you know, that juxtaposition, right? Like that, well, what can I actually change? You know, what do I have the power to actually impact? What can I have the courage to impact? What, you know, what's out of my control? And what I can see is out of my control, other people. I can't make anybody do anything other than exactly what it is that they're doing. You know, and in my tiny circle, right out to the whole world, you know, that people are choosing vaccinations or not choosing vaccinations, that, you know, they're choosing to fire people if they don't get it, right? Like, I can't impact any of that. Right.
Well, and I think there's even another question, like really getting real and straight with ourselves. Do I really want it? Do I really want to change it? You know, if you,
sure,
you know, keep saying you want to lose weight, but you actually don't ever take any action around it. Is that really a desire, or do you think you just should? Right? Yep. Like, notice where you're shooting on yourself instead of actually saying the thing that really does mean something to you, that you really do want to impact. Because I think so often we, you know, we stick in the things we think we should.
Yeah.
Because our mother said so, because society said so, because whatever, right?
Yeah. I can actually put that on the court. I mean, how perfect it all works out. Like, crazy perfect how our conversations all work out. So I've been hanging out for many years, 35 to be exact. 35 years, a smoker. And realizing, right, that there's a significant impact on my health. And coming to discover, okay, I keep saying I want to choose life. I keep saying that I want to create all this stuff in my life, right? And then I go pick up a cigarette, which is completely counterproductive to any of that, to choosing any of that. All right. So right there in that whole diet and the whole, what do I actually want to impact? So I took on last Sunday to choose life. And I'm dealing with the impact of 35 years. Look, since I'm 13 years old, I don't know who I am without a cigarette in my hand. I have no idea. scares the shit out of me right now. Like, and my roommate and I changed offices. You know, we completely changed our environment, and my current environment is a disaster, and it's making me a little crazy. Well, not a little crazy. It's making me crazy. Like
I know nothing about that.
No, you have no idea, right? Like, oh, you know, yeah. So I'm triggered, and I'm like, oh God, you know, every single thing that I did was like planned around when's my next cigarette, when, right? Like, you know, and so yeah, I'm just clear on like, okay, just like you said, if I'm choosing life, these don't fit. Cigarettes no longer fit. They just don't fit. The office that I was in did not work any longer, just like you with your house in South Carolina. It no longer fit with who you say you want to be, what kind of life you actually want to live, right? It doesn't fit. So totally perfect how this conversation all just rolled out. Yep.
Well, and I was thinking of you when I said what I said, and you know, I didn't want to make the choice for you since we're talking about choices, right? I didn't want to make the choice for you to mention it on here if you didn't want to. And you know, in that vein, when you posted on Facebook, first of all, that was just so great. Like that saying, which I'm not going to remember, but from the course we did, something about when you declare your intentions, things move. When you declare them publicly, they move bigger. And then when you, I don't know, there were 3 stages, right? And you know, the louder you get, the more people you involve, basically, the more that thing that you say will actually occur. Now, thinking I want to lose weight is not going to be as powerful as, hey, Dawn, this is what I'm doing. If you see me doing this, please say something. You know, like there's an accountability in that. Telling every single person in my life, hey, I am taking on drinking more water. If you are talking to me and I haven't had a drink of water in 10 minutes, will you just remind me, you know, or whatever it is. But when everybody in your life knows, then there's no hiding out. And it's the hiding out that you were referring to, right? It's the hiding out that gets so insidious. But when you posted on Facebook, what really was interesting to me was the one gentleman that we both know who said, oh, I love smoking. And I thought, you know, like that there was so much authenticity in that, right? Even especially, you know, saying that publicly on Facebook instead of just thinking it, oh, well, good for her, but, you know, I should, right? There was none of that bullshit should stuff. He was just like, yeah, good for you, but man, I'm going to keep smoking. And, you know, while I wish something different for him, and I know it would make a big difference for him, especially with his health, I was still very, I don't know, impressed at that, because smoking is such a socially opinionated
yes
action.
It can be a hot, right? And you know, look, when I started in 1983, you know, cigarettes were under $1, and everyone in my life smoked. Everyone in my life smoked. And it was almost a rite of passage. It was like, okay, I'm old enough now. It's like driving or learning to drink, you know, or being able to drink or any of that. It was like, oh, okay, I'm old enough now, right? Like, you know, they say it's not okay while they're smoking.
Right.
Don't you dare. What? I mean, yeah. And, you know, and even like I said in my Facebook post, there was that experience of, you know, a couple of things that showed up. First of all, undiagnosed ADHD, which nicotine seemed to manage for whatever reason. Totally fed into my OCD. And what I can also see, because none of that conversation, being neurodiverse in any way, that didn't, you were either a hot mess autistic or you weren't, like, right? I mean, that was it in the mental health world. And
well,
what
in that time you were retarded.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like that was even the word that was used, you either normal or retarded, pretty much.
You're on the short bus.
Short bus, right, exactly.
Yeah. It's like, she's on the short bus, right? Remedial classes and all that. And, I can see like there's some of that neurodiversity that was never addressed, like being triggered with these big changes in environment, like viscerally, impacted by it. And, just so much of that was never addressed, that I never had any tools for or anything. And it's so amazing to me, like how and we all do. I'm sitting here thinking of it as it's coming out of my mouth. We create what works for us in the moment. We adjust, we adapt, we create structures, we do what we need to do to survive in the moment. And then once you create that survival mechanism, especially at 13 years old, like that's, that sets the tone for, and most people, I would think, you would really have to take some effort to shift that, because it's your brain has formed those pathways.
Becomes your truth. Yeah.
Yep. So,
and whether it's smoking or, being shy or, there's lots of ways of being too, not just actions that
exactly
become habits and addictions, but there are thoughts that become addictions. There are, other
really
actions, right? Like, it's all in the same world in a way. Like you're saying, right? It becomes our identity. It becomes who we are.
Yep.
And it really takes something to say, you know what? I'm just going to declare this is not who I am. And I don't know who I am. And, to be discovering that is exciting and I'm sure scary.
Yeah. Hashtag dancing in the unknown. Like, wow, here I am, 51, halfway through 51, and really discovering and actually saying, who do I want to be? Creating, who do I want to be, and what do I want, it to look like? And yeah, and I don't know, and it's okay to not know.
Yeah. Like, actually, that's what's required to create, I think, is the unknown.
Yeah.
Like to really discover it, as opposed to having some preconceived notion that you're trying to fit into.
Yeah.
But like actually discovering who am I.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast, financial podcast, not that long ago. I don't even remember who they were. And he was saying that he prefers to work with people under 25 years old because they have not created that hardcore who I am. Right. And, all that. And there's a little bit more flexibility. Right. But adults over 25 years old change because they have to. There has to be something that creates a shift that says this doesn't work anymore and shift.
Yeah.
Versus, 25-year-olds are like, yeah, that looks cool. Let me do that. Right. More adventurous, more risk takers.
I was looking. The kids got me hooked on iFunny, which is an app that collects memes. And I was looking at it today, and it said something like, one of the things I love about toddlers is they think, I wonder what would happen if I did this, and then they go do it. And the picture is of a toddler sitting in a 5-gallon bucket of paint.
That's great.
But like that's what you're pointing to, right? Like let's try that, and yeah, the older we get, the more we're like, well, the last 3 times I tried something that I didn't know, it didn't work out. So that's a bad idea.
Yep.
Even though this time might be completely different. You don't know.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we
I mean, I've
create these rules.
stopped smoking 15, 20 times in my lifetime. Yep. Why is this time going to be any different than the last time? Well, because I say it is. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's really great. And that's what it takes, right? Is the line in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going back.
Yeah. And listening is community, right? Like you said, say it out there. And that's true of everything, is when you share it, it expands.
Yes.
It amplifies it. It magnifies your word when there's the powerful people that are in your life that are listening for that, and they send their energy and intention towards it too.
Well, and I think too, at the core, most, if not all of us, really do want people to, the people in our lives to have what they want, to achieve whatever is out there. And I think when we can be messy on display, we provide something for people. You and I have done a lot of transformational work, and we know that when you're vulnerable, it actually creates connection. But we're so trained that being vulnerable is bad, and people will have something to make fun of us for, or judge us, or, well, guess what? They're judging you anyway. So,
using it against you, or
right. Yep. All those stories. Mm-hmm. And in fact, God, I love it, especially leaders, especially people in leadership positions. I mean, I remember early on my seminar leader talking about his financial troubles. And I just sat there like dumbfounded. Oh, you don't have your shit all worked out already? Like, I really had it that he must, because he's leading this seminar. And, when he put his humanity on display, it provided something for me to really connect to, like, oh, I can be a leader and not have it all sorted. And those really are my favorite course leaders, regardless of the course. I mean, one of the courses I did recently, I signed up for because in the free intro, he showed everybody his socks. And they were socks that a participant had given him, and they had some kind of, transformational quote sort of thing on them. And so he started by showing everybody his socks. And that to me was like, oh yeah, that's really who I am. I'm silly and goofy. And here I've been trying to be a leader, all serious and, but when I was in the classroom, I was my goofy ass self, because I was with kids. If that was okay. And,
sure.
Really getting that, oh no, adults like goofy too. And if they don't, they're probably not the people for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's first husband to second husband. That honestly is probably the biggest thing that I see that has this marriage work, is that he and I are both goofy, and we appreciate each other's goofy. And my first husband, I would say something silly or do something silly, and he would look at me with this look of disdain, like, there was something wrong with me. And that's who I am. That is my authentic expression. And so if showing my socks to participants will attract people, and I want to provide to others what he provided for me, right? Like, oh, the status quo, right? The norm is not the only way to be. There are, many, right, like that song, Many Colors in the Rainbow. Do you know that song? Flowers are red, green grass is green. That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it'll always be, or something like that. I think it's I don't know if it's a Cat Stevens song, or it's sort of that era, right? Like
okay.
like that song about the kid growing up and the dad not having time, Cat's Cradle.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's that song is sort of, I don't know, my anthem in a way, because I've been spending so much of my life trying to color in the lines the way other people want me to. And I've been stepping into embracing all the colors of the rainbow, all the options, all the, there is no wrong possibility. There is no wrong option. It's just a matter of choosing. And now we're back to choosing, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Goodness. I know we had to be short today, but holy cow.
Wow, impactful. Yeah, right?
We packed it in. And thank you, girls, for only piping in at the beginning.
So perfect. See?
Now sit next to me. So, whew. Well, again, I just want to say publicly that I know it takes something. And I imagine it takes something every second sometimes. And I'm just, it's almost your entire life and you're shifting it. And God, you're such a badass. And I'm so glad you are one of my best friends and that you're in my life and that you share your journey with me. And I'm so proud of you. And you got this. And when you forget, call me. Remind me who I am.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that everybody adding to that Facebook post and me rereading what I said and who I am and rereading everything and just keeping that same thread, man, that has been huge. Like that has just been really great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marjorie.
Thank you. Thank you for
providing space for others. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imperfect action is way better than no action.
Yep.
And that's what we provide. I'm not saying, what you're doing is imperfect action, right? But that's what we provide when we declare and jump without really knowing where we're going to land.
Yeah.
But life's way more fun that way.
Wow. Oh yeah. When we declare and jump without knowing where we're going to land. Huh. Yeah. That was really perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that was a good reminder for myself as well.
Yeah. You are in your home of your dreams.
Yeah.
Creating it moment by moment too. Like it really took something for you to leap and say, this is where I'm going to be. This is the kind of life that I'm creating, and it's going to take something, and you're going to do it. Like that's.
I am doing it.
You are doing it. Yep.
And now the next step is I need to increase my business because I'm not helping enough people for my satisfaction, and B, I need a little bit more income too.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was a big bump outside. All three of us are like, what was that? So.
All right, friend. Oh, spot on. It was just 101.
It's still 101 on my clock, so we'll go with that.
Great.
Have a phenomenal day, phenomenal week, and I will talk to you next week.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.